a lady who tries medium hard, and I said, same season. Today, all my dreams are coming true. As an emo kid from the Midwest, I get to do a little set for you before a show, which is fucking awesome. I always wished that I had a tangible talent, like singing or dancing, so I could just come up here and dazzle you. Unfortunately for me, I'm mentally ill. And that's what I have here for you today on display. It's just kind of mental illness. And this is my first time trying to do a comedy set. I have an hour-long show where I tell stories. It's much different, so I've never bombed before, but that's not a challenge, okay? So it's all right. I have these papers because I wrote this today in the car in voice notes and then pieced them together, so it's gonna go as good as it's gonna go. Also, the song that was just playing before I came up here was my away message, just more times than I can ever count. Cut my wrist and black my eyes, because that was the early 2000s on AIM. Really good times. I'm actually very lucky I didn't have social media then. That would have been painfully embarrassing. Yeah, so I've got my mental illness here for you. There was a time when I thought I had a talent. Titanic had just come out. My cousin and I, who had never once before ever shown any aptitude for singing, thought this was our shot. We got in the back of her mom's minivan for the acoustics. As two people with absolutely no skills or knowledge about music, we somehow became magicians at music. We got out the Walkman and we tape recorded ourselves singing My Heart Will Go On. We played that back, and scientifically and professionally, as music professionals, we decided that was our last performance. And since then, I haven't tried again. When I got asked to open an emo show with a comedy set, I was terrified. To be fair, I'm terrified all the time because of the way that everything is all of the time. If you know, you know. Being alive, see, it's it. There's so many people here, it's so scary. Yes. But yeah, I was super afraid to do an emo comedy set because all I've ever done in front of people is a 1-hour storytelling show about how I am mentally ill. And then I realized that emo kids and mental illness Venn diagram is a circle. And so here we are today. I feel comfortable getting up here and talking to you. A guy came up to me after a show once and said, I really related to everything you said. It just really warmed my heart when you said your parents, you wrote a book and your parents didn't buy it or read it when it came out. And I was like, that warmed your heart? That's the saddest thing anybody's ever said to me while smiling, and you're repeating my own words back to me, so yikes. That was a moment for sure. That was a good time though. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm nervous. Anyway.
Me too.
Thank you. Like I said, I wish I had a tangible talent, but I don't. So welcome to this emo comedy set. It was never just a phase, Mom. It was, although, clinical depression. So I hope you've all taken your meds today. It's okay to raw dog reality, but it's a little bit easier if you've taken your antidepressants. So good on you there today. If you don't know who I am, which you probably don't, because these are two worlds coming together. I'm a content creator on the internet, which actually you couldn't have told me when I was a kid, because number one, when I was sitting through career day, the internet didn't exist yet. We used to answer the phone. That's the whole joke. That's it, sorry. And if you ever wanted to know what it was like to be a content creator, do you know the feeling when you hear yourself in a recording and it's really cringy and you're like, that's the cringiest fucking thing I've ever heard? I do that full time. I just listen to myself talk on the internet and edit my own videos, so that should tell you a little bit about me as a person. Super normal. And I never thought I would try to do comedy because my parents always told me that if I tried to be in the arts, I would struggle. And they got me there with that one. Turns out they were right. And It actually makes a lot of sense that I am trying to make it in comedy on the internet. It's a little scarier in front of you because you can see me. But the sad, misunderstood emo kid to demanding attention online pipeline is also a circle. So, the show that I'm opening for is called Born in the Wrong Era, and I actually might argue, based on the way that that works, I was born in the right era. I'm unfortunately a little bit elderly to be here today. I was born in the 1980s, which was quite a time to be alive. We were really having a good time. It's also the wrong era because I literally live here and not a single one of my friends could come because they all have children on purpose. And I say on purpose because I'm still very fearful of becoming a teen mother. I would be pitching myself to teen mom as a 37-year-old. I don't even have fallopian tubes, so I don't know why this is a fear of mine, but here we are. But you know about Jesus, right? How he came about? So there's always a chance. Even though it's not physically possible. You know, Jesus stuff. Magic. Yep, that's me. Jesus. There we go. No, I'd argue the wrong era to actually have been born in might have been having to live through the Great Depression without memes. Or trying to experience World War II without TikTok trends. Who do you even commiserate with? And that's a joke I used to tell that I don't have to tell anymore because actually I think anybody who's alive right now is living through the worst timeline, but the memes help. They do help. Memes. They just get me. Wow, what a day we're having here. I know I'm just saying a lot of words. You're just experiencing ADHD on display, which I warned you about, the mental illness. You see, I have these papers. My dad told me once that he found it really endearing that I was always fucking petrified on stage and I held my papers and that I keep doing it, even though I'm equally terrified every time I do it. And I said, that's so sweet that you find my unmedicated ADHD endearing, because the alternative is I stand here and stare at you and say nothing. So that would be fun for us. I feel really self-conscious right now, so that was so fun. Yesterday? Oh no, it's okay. That's actually just baseline for me. So
we're all self-conscious.
That's what. Well, I know. See, that's why I could say it. Yesterday, my mom was looking at me, and I was in a crop top. And she didn't say anything, but you could just tell she was like. Her eyes just kept sort of getting down, because I'm wearing one now, so it's relevant, and I'm self-conscious. And you're like, that's not really a joke. And I say, but I'm a self-conscious emo kid, so here we are. Yeah, and I just over-explained myself as well. I feel like being misunderstood, out of place, and nervous, crushing being an emo kid on stage, speaking in a monotone voice, petrified. Yeah. Speaking of moms, I just bought a minivan. I have some trouble with my own identity. I'm a bit confused, a little bit mixed up when it comes to being alive. Because you know, the fear of the teen motherhood, and then the removal of the fallopian tubes, which should have taken away the fear of the motherhood. And then 2 weeks later, I bought a minivan. And I've been trying to find my community. And every time I see someone else in a minivan, I've been getting really stoked. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to start a minivan wave. I'm like really into the idea of this. And so far not one person's looked back at me because the moms are defeated. I see you, 30-year-old teen moms, you're crushing it. I feel that. But it's just another club I won't get to be a part of, Minivan Wave Club. Because we're emo kids who didn't get to be a part of stuff. That's an emo joke. Anyway, I also needed a place for my perfect acoustics in case I ever decided to take back up singing Celine Dion in the trunk. So it's also dual purpose for the minivan, if you forgot about that. I was from earlier. I was talking about, no? Okay. Tough bro. This guy loves it though. He's having a good time. Yeah.
He's from Ohio.
The poor moms, the poor minivan club. Not very. But if you get a minivan, I will wave so hard at you. Let me tell you about the minivan, it's kind of cool. So, sometimes the joke is just me explaining the joke, so I'm sorry about that. That's just sort of happening a lot here, as a person who's uncomfortable existing in front of people. Look at this guy, he's losing his mind over here. That's my #1 fan, actually.
I'm related.
Wait, I'm so excited now. I get to talk about my favorite thing. Okay, because we got to it. Somehow in this set, I got to include my favorite story about myself. It's a good one, I guess. So like 7 years ago, I was trying to buy a car on Carvana, and I have never not told this story at a show, so I'm sorry. I know you've seen my show. I wanted to buy a car on Carvana, and I was trying to get financing through Carvana, and you have to pass an identity exam. And I've always really struggled with who I am as a person, and having a strong sense of self, and knowing where I belong in the world, and who the fuck I am. And so I take the identity exam once, the ones that are like trying to prove you are who you are and not a scammer. And they're like, hey, which one of these streets have you lived on? And you're like, sure. And like, what's your highest level of education? Where, like, all these things. Which of these people are you related to? I failed it the first time. And I'm like, yeah, probably got one wrong. Like, I'll just go back. Maybe it was the street thing. So I fail it again. And I go back a third time, and they make you call on the phone. Terrifying, first of all. But then the guys, you can tell every single question he's asking me, like, is that your highest level of education? I'm like, I'm pretty sure. He's like, are you sure? You can tell this guy's like, oh no, she's gonna fail again. And then I got banned from buying cars on Carvana for 60 days because I was a fraud risk. So then I made a new account on Carvana in my husband's information, bought a car, passed his identity exam on the first try, and then I actually committed fraud. So Carvana was right about me. And that's that for this emo tiny set. Thanks for tolerating me for a few minutes. This tiny crowd of people who don't know who I am. Hopefully, I'll just keep getting better at this. I actually won't. I'm gonna continue to be a petrified human being who's terrified of being near people. But if it ever does happen, you'll get your emo kid moment where you get to say that you saw me before I was mainstream.